Hello everyone, happy Monday, Yom Tov. It's your old mate Heather back again. I hope you all had a lovely weekend. Mine was really quiet. I've honestly got to tell you, I just lazed around and did very little with the amount of aplomb that I am able to do. I like that word aplomb. Actually, it makes you feel as if you're sort of sitting like this and going, oh yes, I've got the greatest aplomb, don't you know? Or I do know what aplomb means. It's supposed to be the way you do something. Anyway, today's word is aplomb. A-P-L-O-M-B, aplomb. So if you want to do something with a certain aplomb, then go ahead and do it. That's your word for today. I think we should probably do that. Word of the day. I'll have to think of weird words we can use. Anyhow, I hope all of you are doing really well. I want to welcome everybody back to the Haven. And today we are going to be talking about music for happy moods and happy memories. And the sort of songs that we remember from whatever occasion it may be, or just favourite songs that you've picked up along the way on your travels through life. And this exercise isn't about, well, I chose this song because it reminds me of such and such and so and so. It can be for that if you want it to be. Hang on, my earrings just come out. Oh well, I'm not fiddling with it back on. Unless a ghost pulled it out. Wrong night for that, would have to be Friday, wouldn't it? So, the way I've done my list is I just had a really good think over the weekend and I couldn't keep it to 20. I have done 20, but in fairness, there are more. But because I've asked you all to do your top 20, that's why I haven't done more of mine. That's why. That's the only reason why. Because I didn't want to make it unfair. So, without further ado, I would like to go ahead and share my top 20 favourite songs with you. And they're in no necessary order. They're just as they came to me. And the thing is, there were some that were pulling and tugging to be in the top 20, then I think, oh, that's a really good one. And then I think, oh, well, I do like that one, but oh, I also like that one. And then there were different artists I was thinking about. And like, it's not in my top 20, but there's an artist called Ed Elaine Johnson. And he plays the electric violin. And I love Ed Elaine Johnson. He is wonderful. I really do like him. There's another artist called Joe Satriani. The way he plays guitar is just out of this world. I meant to say, I've seen him, Joe Satriani. He was in concert with Steve Vai, who's another great favourite of mine. And another one called Robert, was it Flood or something like that? He's called Robert somebody. Robert Tripp. Was it Robin Tripp? I think that's what his name was, Robin Tripp. Well, I've got to say, they came as like the three names at this concert that I went to. Lasted for about 3 odd hours. And Tripp was first, and his music was an ode to Wales song, and he was booed off stage. It was so bad. But then Steve Vai came on, and he was just like a god with his hair blowing in the wind. And then Joe Satriani came on, and then we just lost ourselves in the music. I remember Hobby and I were just hugging each other, listening to this music. Oh, it was fantastic. But I love like really good lead guitar, so that's something. Anyway, those were some of the ones that I just wanted to give a quick mention to. But I'm going to start now. Put on the old trusty reading glasses. Found my diary. So, here we go. And like I said, these are in no particular order. It's just how they are, really. The Beatles. I mean, when I was a little girl, I loved the Beatles, particularly Paul McCartney. And, you know, I was like, say, 3, 4, 5 years old, coming up the age of 6, and I wanted to marry Paul McCartney. I really did. I was madly in love with him. And I remember saying to my older brother and sister, who'd both seen them, they both gone to see the Beatles. My older brother liked John better, as did my sister, but I love Paul McCartney. And I said I wanted to marry him. You know, I got better. You know, I wouldn't now, but oh my God, when he was younger, definitely. Oh, it's a bit like, there's another ones I didn't mention, which should have been in my top 20 that weren't, were the Monkees. You know, with the likes of Daydream Believer and another Pleasant Valley Sunday and, you know, things like that. And I love Davy Jones. I mean, Davy Jones was to die for, girls, wasn't he? He was just so cute. He was just gorgeous. And then there was something about Peter Tork. I don't know why. He made me want to pinch his cheeks and ruffle his hair and give him a cuddle. But I didn't want to do that with Davy Jones. Not as a little girl. I wanted to marry him. If I couldn't have Paul McCartney, then I wanted to have Davy Jones. Anyway, so I've got 2 of my favourite songs from the Beatles. I had to think long and hard about which ones, and there are so many, just so many. I mean, right from when they first started, right down to, you know, the likes of Abbey Road. But, you know, I just had to think which are the ones that call to me, you know, which I can really sit back and lose myself in the moment to. And I did think of Get Back, back in the USSR, Ballad of John and Yoko, Twist and Shout, Please Please Me, I Want to Hold Your Hand, I Will, you know, stuff like that. But in the end, I chose While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and that was mostly George Harrison, who, he was my second to Paul McCartney in the Beatles, because it was Paul, then George, then John, then Ringo. I don't know anybody who put Ringo first. I mean, come on, you know. So While My Guitar Gently Weeps is, again, it's that lead guitar. It just sings. And, you know, there aren't, you know, it's not so much about the vocals for me, it's about the music. And that's something that really, really just makes my heart sing. Love that. And then the one that they did a few years back, when they all got together and they worked with recordings of John, and they did Real Love. I could listen to that on a loop for about an hour. Just let it go on and sing it at the top of my voice. Now, I know it sounds a bit daft, but I've been in choirs until I was, good Lord, I stopped being in a choir when I was, might have been 3 years ago, because I was in the Shoal Choir, and before that, I would just join in community choirs. And it would be whether they be in Catholic churches, whether they be in Church of England churches. It didn't matter to me. And it wasn't the words of even the hymns that mattered to me. You know, with being Jewish, obviously, you know, talking about the Lord Jesus coming and what have you. But it wasn't about that for me, it was singing. Because I did love to sing. But unfortunately now, with all the opioids and pain and getting older, aging, my voice is not what it was. And I can't hit the high notes anymore the way I used to. I think I was an alto, but I just can't hit the high notes the way I used to. So whatever it is that I've come down 1 or 2 notches. Anyway, those are the 2 from the Beatles, is While My Guitar Gently Weeps and Real Love. Next one, Rolling Stones. And I know this probably sounds like, oh, you know, this is all just British stuff. It's not. There's stuff from all over the place. Jumpin' Jack Flash, which I absolutely adore. I really, really do. And that reminds me of one of my favourite Whoopi Goldberg films, which is called Jumpin' Jack Flash. At least I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. But that's the song that's in it, is Jumpin' Jack Flash. Well, anyway, I love that song. I love her. I think she's brilliant. Loved her in Ghost. Rita Mae Brown. Oh, she was brilliant, wasn't she? I do. I mean, I don't know much about her now because she's not really acting much now. At least I don't think she is. But when she was in Ghost and Jumpin' Jack Flash and the other bits she's done, loved her. Absolutely loved her. I don't want to go on to the Jackson 5 because that was part of like my start of like my disco stuff when I went through that phase. And my all-time favourite of theirs was Shake Your Body Down to the Ground. Oh, honestly, I have vivid memories of myself and a girlfriend in a nightclub on the stage where you weren't supposed to be, and the pair of us dancing to this song. And because we were well known, the doorman let us do it. But it was quick skedaddle straight afterwards. But they allowed us to get up and dance to that because we wanted the room. And people would stand and watch us, and some of them would laugh and some of them wouldn't. But it was just, you know, a couple of drinks, a couple of cigarettes, and it was just such great fun. I mean, I'd be about 17, just having the time of my life. And then my all-time favourite Michael Jackson song, which is Thriller. I do love Thriller. I'm not saying there was anything wrong with any of his other stuff. I mean, I do like Rock With You. I like that. But I think, for me personally, my all-time favourite has got to be Thriller. And then there is the one I told you about the other day, the Archies and Sugar Sugar. Now, I don't know why I always associate that with Scooby-Doo. Whether or not, because it was a cartoon sort of video that went with it or what, I can't remember. But to this day, I love that song. If I could still get up and dance, trust me, I'll be dancing all the time. Singing and dancing all the time. I mean, I'm certainly not good enough, nowhere near good enough to sort of act or do anything like that in public. But I'm not saying that I wouldn't have done it. I have done it before, in an amateur sense. But it was just like skits at college and bits and like school plays and skits at college, that sort of thing I did. But great fun, you know, fluffing your lines and just having to ad-lib and what have you. So, and then there's a band called the Electric Light Orchestra. It's a British band, formed by a guy called Jeff Lynne. and they went on to, when they split up, Jeff Lynne formed a band with George Harrison, and there was Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan, and to be honest with you, I forget who else, but they were the Travelling Wilburys, and they should have been in my top 20 as well, because I love the Travelling Wilburys. I don't know, it's like a little bit of country, bit of southern, bit of rock. It's all good stuff. And that reminds me of southern rock, because one of my all-time favourite bands has got to be Lynyrd Skynyrd, and Freebird is what got me into classic rock, heavy metal, and of course Sweet Home Alabama. Oh my God, you know, I'm going to let you into a secret, Haveners. When I have a drink or several, I am known to put that song on the CD player and sing at the top of my lungs, and then the song will come to an end and I'll go, one more time, and then start singing it all over again. And I just absolutely love that song, really do love that song. And again, with Lynyrd Skynyrd, with Freebird, sorry, I love that, but it was, I don't know whether that might have been the start of my neck problems, but of course I headbanged, and I had much longer hair, and of course you can't listen to Freebird without dancing to it. So I never did air guitar or anything daft like that. That was for the boys. But we girls would headbang or sway our skirts or something like that. We'd do something daft. Bare feet, obviously. Those are the days. What have I got next? Well, oh yes, the Electric Light Orchestra. My song with them is Don't Bring Me Down. Sounds like a sad song, but it's not. It's got a very strong beat, and it's one that you can really dance to. So, I mean, I don't know if you ever watch the video back again, and if you want to hear any of my choices of songs, all you've got to do, they're all on YouTube. You'll be able to find them there. The next one, Fleetwood Mac. I was trying to remember the other day, and it came back to me. It's Go Your Own Way. That's the one that I love to dance to, and another one I can sing at the top of my voice. Like I say, badly. But I love that one. And of course, the one that brings back the biggest memories for me is another track from the album Rumours called The Chain. And when we used to go out it was the hippie nightclub, and we'd all stand at the end and dance to The Chain. We also would stand and dance to George Thorogood. What was it? Oh God, it was. Do you know it will? You see, I do this all the time. It was George Thorogood and the Destroyers, and it'll come to me. Don't worry, I will remember. I'll put it in the comments. I'll remember what it is. So it was Go Your Own Way and The Chain with Fleetwood Mac. Of course, there's other stuff. There's like Rhiannon and Sarah, and another one of theirs is Seven Wonders. I like that one. And there's one that I think about because I was pregnant with my daughter at the time, and it was this is ridiculous. There's so much going on in my head. I'm going to write it in the comments, but I was remember holding my daughter when she was a newborn, and this song by Fleetwood Mac came on the radio. I remember, and it wasn't Little Lies. It was it's something like Everywhere. That's what it was called, Everywhere. I want to be with you everywhere. That was it. That's my daughter's song. I want to be with you everywhere. And actually, the song that I got for my son is by a guy called Jimmy Nail, and he's an actor and singer, been in some movies, and he sang a song called Cowboy Dreams, and that's the song I have for my son. Anyway, next one I've got down here. Oh yes, Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Fear the Reaper. If there are any rockers out there, or anybody who loves their classic rock, Don't Fear the Reaper. Absolutely amazing song. Then I've got a band called Molly Hatchet, who did a song called Boogie No More, and that's what I was telling you about. I like Southern rock, so I absolutely love that one. And that was a song that we used to... Madison Groove, that was it. George Thorogood and the Destroyers, we do the Madison Groove. That's it. I knew it would come back to me. George Thorogood and the Destroyers, you do the Madison Groove. And that's another Southern rock one. I do like my Southern rock. There's a band called Black Oak, Arkansas, I believe, who do a song called, I think it's called Jim Dandy. Oh, I really love that one. Oh, I could hightail it up and down the room to that one, you know, if I could. I did used to, because they had it on the movie Overboard with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. And that was where I first heard that song, you know, Go Jim Dandy. Love that one. Next one. Oh, this is hard. I love Iron Maiden. Heavy metal band. Very, very, very hard to choose my favourite one of theirs. But it has to be Hallowed Be Thy Name. And it's basically a song about a guy who has been condemned to death by hanging. It doesn't, it's not a sad song, honestly. Not to people who like heavy metal, because it's a good dance song. But he's sort of praying and saying, you know, he's off to the gallows and how he's scared and what have you, but he's prepared to meet his maker and what have you. And then it just goes into this massive guitar solo and heavy drum beat and oh. So it's not a sad song, promise you that. It's really not. I haven't chosen any sad songs. My all-time favourite heavy metal band, Motorhead. And you're going to laugh at this one, because this one I want at my funeral. Because I love it so much. And again, it was another very, very hard choice. Because when I've been to see them 4 times, and they always do the same 3 songs right at the very end. And they do Killed by Death, which is the one I've chosen, Overkill, and then they do the Ace of Spades. And I couldn't have, I could have had all 3 of them, but then again I would have gone over my 20. So I chose Killed by Death, and I thought I'm going to have that at my funeral, because I think that's quite neat. I've got 2 songs by Rod Stewart. One that takes me back to my days of disco, which is Do You Think I'm Sexy? And the other one is a love song, and it's one that before we got engaged, I sang it to my husband, and it was, "Have I told you lately that I love you?" And that's my favourite Rod Stewart song. But when it comes to dancing, it's got to be "Do You Think I'm Sexy?" Love that one. Then gotta have an Elvis song. And I do like Elvis. I don't like all of it. I prefer earlier Elvis to later Elvis. And I honestly have got to say, it was really hard choosing from early Elvis. But I made my decision, and it was Jailhouse Rock. You know. I mean, the other one was Blue Suede Shoes. And then, of course, there was Teddy Bear. And Heartbreak Hotel. But then you've got Jailhouse Rock. I mean, you know, rock, hard place. What do you do? So you just got to think, right, well, which one, gun to your head, which one would it be? So I chose Jailhouse Rock. Penultimate one of the 20, number 19, is a guy called Chris Rea. And he's singer-songwriter. And one of his famous songs is "The Road to Hell." And I just love the guitar in that, and I love the words. So, you know, I do like a lot of Chris Rea stuff, but that's got to be my all-time favourite, is "The Road to Hell." And then my final one, and this was so difficult, I had to choose a Led Zeppelin. And that was really, really hard, because I've got favourite songs of theirs, but for all kinds of different reasons. One of their ones that lasts about 15 minutes is called Carolus Alhambra, and I do love that one. But I had to go with my favourite album, which was Led Zeppelin 4, and choose Rock and Roll. I had to choose that one. It was either that or Black Dog. So again, you see, gun to the head, what can you do? So I would have gone over things. Now, I mean, there's classical music that I like. I've got to admit, I'm not as big into classical music as I am into classic rock and, you know, disco and, you know, the 60s and things like that. Obviously, it's the 50s because it's what the adults around me were, you know, still singing. And then, as I say, it was coming at the 60s, because I was born in December 1960. So I'm a true child of the 60s. So I was going through all that with so many different bands. And then there was the 70s and some of the greatest bands. I mean, I haven't mentioned people like, oh God, Eddie Van Halen, the Scorpions, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Budgie. There's just so many bands, you know, that I love, and different songs. But sometimes you've got to choose the ones that everybody knows. And there's bound to be songs on my list that you've never heard of. But one thing I am looking forward to is, I'm just checking out time here. One of the things I am looking forward to is seeing your lists. And you don't have to have 20 if you don't want to. If you've just got 10 or 5, or you could only think of 2, it doesn't matter. Because what I will do is, if I don't know the song, I'll go on YouTube and I'll listen to it for myself. And I wondered if that might be something you'd be interested in doing. Some of the songs that I've listed out to you, and I was going to say David Bowie. I haven't even gone into some of the stuff I love with David Bowie. you know, Rocket Man, obviously, and Let's Dance, you know, love that. Young Americans, Changes, you know, so much, you know, Ziggy Stardust, and the Spiders from Mars. You know, there's just so much stuff, there's so much music out there. And you'll no sooner chosen one than you're thinking, oh, well, I should have chosen another one. And I mean, I don't really do the modern stuff that the kids listen to. I do like Lady Gaga. I think she's really talented. And I remember listening to Poker Face and thinking, oh, I don't like that. You know, but then it came and it grew on me. And then it got that I started loving everything she did. Bad Romance, and I mean, I must admit I love Telephone. And Paparazzi, Alejandro, you know, Judas, you know, all that sort of stuff. Absolutely love it. But some of the stuff, I don't do rap music. Rap is just crap with a silent C. And that's my opinion. And I'm sorry if there's any people who love rap, but that's how I feel about rap music. But anyway, yes, I would love to see your choices. And I would love to go away and find them on YouTube and listen to them. Because you never know, you might instill a love of a new artist for me to listen to. And I might be able to do the same for you, you never know. So on that happy note, my loves, I'm going to have to say bye-bye to you because I've gone over time again. I can't seem to keep under the 30 minutes these days because I yak too much. But I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope some of my song choices have made you think about songs you like. Maybe you like some of the same ones yourself, you know. But I'm looking forward to getting to the comments today. I really am. And seeing what you guys have got to say. Right, now this Wednesday for Folk Tales, it's the birthday request to Claire's mum Mary, and that's going to be the Little Match Girl. And then on Friday, we've got episode 6 of Cerber for you, for all the paranormal crew. I haven't thought out next Monday yet, but, you know, unless, I'm just trying to think, movies. Okay, I'll tell you what. Shall I talk about my favourite movies next week? And I'll try and see if I can get through my top 20 favourite movies and why. And do my best to keep it to under 30 minutes. Okay? There you go. There's another week's homework for you. Top 20 movies. You don't have to say why though. I do, but you don't have to. How's about that? There's your homework for next Monday. Our top 20 movie choices. If you had only 20 movies to watch and one big home cinema, which 20 would you choose? There you go. There's your homework for next week. Okay then, my darlings. I love you all very, very much. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead. Like I said, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very, very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate every single one of you. And I'm really grateful for every one of you who comes here. I will see you all again very, very soon. And in the meantime, take care. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.